For early access plus exclusive content, facilitated discussions, live one-on-one Q&As, and more, become a patron at patreon.com/BrucePointset. Okay. So Verbz, Matt, thank you for taking the time to talk with me today. How are you guys doing?
Thanks for having us, bro. Doing good.
Awesome. So, I wanted to have you all on to, talk about the return of the Thesis, one of the premier hip hop showcases in Oregon. And I guess just to, we can talk a little bit more about just like the importance of the event itself. But, September's going to be what, the second or third show back after, kind of like a, COVID hiatus, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was
go ahead.
It was a long shutdown.
Yep.
Yeah, so can you just talk about, just like the energy in the space, again, just like being back?
I'll start with it since you were out of town for the last one, but I think what I've seen from the few live shows that I've done since things have started to open up and then now shut back down, is like people are so hungry for the connection of live music and like miss what that energy is and almost don't remember what it is like to be in those shows. And the energy is higher than I remember anytime previous. Just that I think it's just an overwhelming thing that we missed this community, and like, for some people it's church. So that's the kind of energy that we want to have, and it's nice to have that back, and I hope we can continue having it. But yeah, I think initially the first impact was a little bit like hesitant and forgetting what that energy is, and like a little hesitant to walk up to the front of the stage, and then something clicked, the right song came on, and it was kind of like on from there. So I'm excited to do more. I hope we get to keep doing more. I hope the world starts allowing us to do that.
And kind of similar to that, I know you're doing like some like virtual stuff. Obviously, like a lot of DJs were through kind of the pandemic. Just for those who, those of us on the other side, can you just talk about just like, it's just the difference of kind of like basically like trying to like do an event kind of like in your own little like bubble in the space versus like being back into, like Kelly's or any of these venues?
It was a real struggle for me. Trying to perform for no one is not something I've ever done. Like I didn't start out as a bedroom DJ. I just started doing shows and threw myself in. So having the live reaction was a lot. And then the way the energy shifted after George Floyd's murder, I couldn't bring myself to try to like throw a normal hip hop show. It just didn't feel right. The world didn't feel right. And I missed the live energy. And obviously like lots of things were taking precedent and were more important during those times. So trying to find a space to help make sure these artists have places to perform and make sure that we provide opportunities again. That's what's important to me. But yeah, that was a difficult phase trying to do virtual stuff. Like I was really happy at first to like at least just stay connected and say what up to young shirt man. But the aspect of not having the energy coming back at you is very difficult.
And I mean, even when we came back, the first show that we like half came back in May, we did a show that didn't have like a live audience. And I mean, it was a very small group in there, and the energy in there was great, but it was just not the same. Like, it's just not the same to not have your audience there.
But even from that attempt and how things worked out with it, we could tell from the artists how important it was. And like there was a freestyle sesh after the event, which was wild. Like that doesn't happen after most of our shows. And so like the fact that artists were just so hungry to perform, we could feel it. So that felt good. That also let me know like this is what has to happen, is I have to continue like providing opportunities, and like we have to like work through this and figure out how to do it. And if we have to do outdoor shit, if we have to figure out whatever we got to do, I know how important it is. And so yeah, that really puts a fire under me, but also taught us a little lesson that the crowd aspect was so important to us.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things I think is so cool about the Thesis is, you know, one, just like the diversity of artists and like voices you all showcase, and then like you kind of talked about earlier, just like how it's just, you know, the necessity of these spaces as far as like building community and, you know, just providing the opportunity to build community. Can you just like expand on that a little bit more?
I mean, I think it's just, you know, it's a music community, right? So it's really easy. Like as long as you're making music and you're not trying to fight and beef with everyone else, it makes it really easy to be like, you know, friends in this community. So our whole thing, I think, since the day one has been just to like foster a family, you know, a growing family of artists, and we just add in new people and add in new people. And if people can't, you know, be in that space, then those people are in that space. But mostly it's very welcoming. And so I think that especially after the pandemic and so many people are just locked in their houses, you know, we come back and it's like the family never left. It's like it's your cousin you haven't seen since the last reunion, but like here we are, and it's like the same energy, and you know, it's like you're right back on it. So I really appreciated that myself, because I hadn't seen a lot of my you know, folks I see like every month. I haven't seen them in, you know, a year and a half, and so I know for me it's extremely powerful.
And you know, like you were talking about the types of artists we champion, we want to make sure that, you know, we find artists who are at the building blocks phase and trying to figure things out, but we also want to give spaces for people who have been around for a while and been established. And we also want to make sure that it's always this very open space that is accessible to everyone, that is accessible to LGBTQ plus. I want it to be open to, you know, Portland has always had issues with just having shows for Black artists. So making sure Black artists are on our headlines, and also making sure that women are always on our showcases as well, because sometimes that was like a issue that we'd see, this, you know, like all dude showcases with all dude audiences, and that energy is all kinds of wrong. So I really like being able to foster a space that's like open and feels like home to everyone. Like Mac put it on Twitter that the Thesis is Switzerland. It's neutral ground. You come to the party, but no one's beefing there, and we don't choose sides on any beef. We're, as long as people are good people, we're trying to work with them. So
here for the growth.
Yeah, so building them from the opener to headliners, that's a big deal to us, is like helping artists find their space, and you know, we also pay them. So you know, a little different than a lot of shows, you know, like making sure that artists get paid, and we don't even break it down by like headliner gets this much more. Like we try to be equal to that and make sure that, you know, like distribution goes to everybody and everybody gets paid.
Well, I think it's a huge thing for us. I mean, as far as just like equity goes, like, you know, I think that we've worked really hard to like kind of, what would you say, like deconstruct the myth of the headliner. Like the headliner isn't always the most important person on the show. The headliner, the person on the flyer might go second. You know what I mean? It's just, that doesn't actually matter. So it's all about, I'm having like an event that's an experience, and then bringing in these different people to kind of fill those roles and make it a show. So, you know, I think taking a lot of the ego out of it has helped us a lot, because we're able to just, you know, book people together, as opposed to saying like, I'm going to book you, and then who do you want on your show, you know, like a beneath you. Instead, it's like, you know, we're able to really do like a lot of a collaboration. And I think that's really special about it.
And then just the audience, the fact that our whole crowd is just filled with like the other artists in Portland, and the other creatives, and the photographers, and the graphic designers, and, you know, like the fashion folk. And like, I love seeing that creative community come together like that. And
It's like,
the fact that if you're the part of the family, you keep on supporting, you know, like that's it.
And it's like, where else are you gonna go and run into like Win and Mike Capes and Zaya Bell and Marquis and like, you know, Vina Baby, like you and Young Shirtman, like, and they're just there all the time. Solomon's always there, you know, all the folks that you're like, oh, what happened to this guy? They're at the Thesis every time, you know. It's great. I think it's really great.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's really, you know, that's positive. And I just want to go ahead and ruin all that vibe now by
Please.
please. But I say that to say, you know, Mac, the first time I interviewed you back when I was at the Scanner, you know, one of the things I had to ask is just like, you know, just asking for recommendations. And that was the first time you put me on the Low B, and that was right after Debauchery came out. And not to sound like Peter Rosenberg or anything, but honestly, I think about that album like every 2 weeks. I really do.
Pretty wild album.
Our first ever headliner is the Thesis back in December 2014, Load B.
Yeah. But so to that end, just like both of you, like if you were, you know, giving recommendations to people, and, you know, there's obviously like, you know, Amine, Last Artful Dodger have, you know, national headlines. You know, Mike Capes just hit #2 on iTunes. But for, you know, the people who may not have for those, I guess, artists who haven't hit like maybe that level of exposure yet, but are, you know, the next, like that people that, you know, just that we need to know, especially, you know, outside of Portland Metro. Like, who are some names you all would recommend?
Let's go back and forth. Verbz, you go first. Who you got?
Well, you know, I think she kind of stole the show the other day. Well, actually, I could do 2 of them right in a row. I could say both of that about both Sote and Kingsley. Both came on our showcase in the last 2 months and had outstanding sets. Kingsley, her album rollout was incredible. I think it's called Crying on Holiday or Holidays. Damn. And it also was rolled out with like a podcast and a recipe book for a bunch of cocktails and lipstick for her first 3 singles. And like, you know, I have a bunch of friends who play a bunch of the music that I, you know, after every Thesis, I go and make a playlist of all the songs. And then I also add a few songs from the artists who were on the show. And those Kingsley ones got bumped. They keep getting bumped. And so I would say that. And then Sote, who just came on and just with so much swagger and confidence and just smashed our last show. And I think she's really fun. I'm looking forward to like new releases and projects from her. Go ahead, Mac.
Always got to say, you know, keep an eye out on the Dante Thomas and them. You know, I think I first covered Dante, and I was making fun of him for the way that he was like spamming us on Facebook with his videos and songs, and that was like years and years ago. But now he's really a bona fide artist, and I definitely.
My friend was his English teacher, and she would be like, "There's a kid who raps in my English class. His name's Dante Thomas." So I was up on Dante.
Wow. Yeah, he's got amazing themes and ideas. I really love his rollouts, his projects, the things that he's working on with the whole, you know, produce collective. I also really like what Wavy Yosef is doing, and I think that he's a guy to really keep an eye on. You know, his work with everyone from Sote to Vina and beyond. He's just doing amazing things. He's kind of like the younger generation's Tony Ozier. You know, I really see that in him. Yeah. And I think Tony would agree.
He's definitely like tapped in on several. I mean, every time we do a show, he's somehow on that show as well. He's either DJing for an artist, he's performing with them. So like Wavy's on everything. Obviously, we got to have Wavy. Look for him on an upcoming solo set whenever we can get him. Let's see. Now I'm talking about Wavy. So, but Matt Randall just released a really nice project that I really impressed with. Matt Randall continues to grow as an artist. I mean, from the first time he headlined to the last time he headlined, I mean, he's grown exponentially. I really am impressed with that. Young Shirtmain, obviously, and him did a piece together, and so you should also check out that project because it's a lot of fun, but also like a little bit more depth than you might assume. But Shirty's got bars, and it's fun. And actually, you just talked about Load B, but Milk has been on an absolute tear, just like tearing up verse after verse after verse after verse. And he's got a new project. I mean, he's got a new project every few weeks now because he's in the zone. So yeah, Milk is out there spitting.
I'd also have to shout out to Zaya Bell, who we had booked for a thesis a couple years ago, and now she's living up here, and that's really a huge thing. And her voice is out of this world. She's an amazing artist. If you haven't seen her on social media, she's also just like absolutely hilarious and a great person to follow. And then I'd also say, dang, I just had it in my head. I lost it. Yeah. Vina, and then Paris Alexa. Paris Alexa is from Seattle.
I think Paris Alexa was, I think that might have been one of the last ones that you mentioned before I got into it, but we were just talking about, I haven't even heard anybody else pronounce his name, so I'm guessing on it. It's Daniel, Daniel, super young dude. Already got a huge following. His videos look super clean. He's kind of got a more soulful Juice WRLD vibe to him. Like I could honestly see him just like blowing up right past us. And then Bird Bennett, another guy who's super young, who we haven't had on the Thesis yet, which is a travesty. But obviously this is all because people who are under 21, it's harder to get them on the show when we're at a bar, that kind of stuff. We have to have babysitters. We have to hire people. It's stupid. And we've also had problems with like their moms fighting security. So anyway, but Bird Bennett, he just signed with somebody, and he really could just like take off because, I mean, he can spit. He's a white rapper in America, man. Like he's got balls. It could happen. So and he's also just like a cool kid. Like he seems like real confident in his shit and funny, and like he seems super cool. So I really hope we can have him on Thesis soon. So yeah. You want to throw some more? Let's go.
And then I would definitely have to throw in like, Solomon and Trox, a couple of the producer homies have really been killing it. And Trox is actually coming in town, I think, today. So he'll be here for his birthday weekend. And then of course, Solomon's like the big homie now, which is crazy because like I met him and I swear he was like 19 or 20 years old when I met him. He was like super skinny and like all quiet and kind of like antisocial. And now he's like out there like, yeah, I'm big homie. And I'm like, that's really weird, bro. You're like, you are.
I love it though. I'm so happy to see him like connected like that because like he definitely was a low key dude, and so it's nice to see him out on it. Also, you guys remember his raps? Stu can rap too.
He ain't bad. He raps like Danny Brown.
Yeah, very much. Looking at my list here, but go ahead. No, sorry.
I was gonna try and cut you off because we gotta go for the controversy. So I just want to let any artist who's watching this know that if you weren't mentioned, take offense to it, and make sure to share this video and let people know why you're so angry about it. Just gotta
talk about it.
Mac and Verbz are disrespecting you right now.
If I didn't name you,
I think for me, I always go for people. Sorry, man. For me, I always go for people with like recent content. So that's like if they put a new album out, that's what I'm gonna talk about. But I definitely forgot 3 or 4 of them. So
if I didn't say your name,
take offense.
Period. If I didn't say your name, it's because you're garbage. You can't rap. That's why.
You hear that, Win? We're saying you can't rap, Win. No, I'm kidding. I love it.
Oh man. Well, yeah. Verbz, Matt, thank you again for taking the time. And the Thesis, the next show is when and who's on the line?
Our next show is September 2nd with Vina Baby. We got Mal London in the building. We got Miss L on the lineup. We got C3 the Guru on the lineup, who we've been trying to get on for several shows to make it all happen. So I'm really happy he finally gets to be with us. And I mean, as long as we get to be together, that show is gonna fucking smash. So like Vina is just a showstopper. I can't imagine what she's gonna do. The girl can like bring you to tears with her voice, legitimately, like and also make you laugh with her bars too. So yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
Awesome. Well, yeah, everyone mark your calendars, and Mac Verbz, thank you again.
Hey, thank you.
So happy to do it, man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Please like and share and subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest videos. Thank you.